book haul in quite a while, mainly because I'm trying not to bankrupt myself with buying books, so most of my reading has been done via the library, but you know, you just kind of collect books over time, so I think it's time to haul all the books. For my birthday, my mother-in-law got me this, which is Neil Gaiman's The Sleeper and the Spindle. I have been eyeing this since it came out. This is just beautiful, and look, when you take off the cover underneath is just even more gorgeous. And then the inside with all the beautiful, beautiful illustrations, and they just continue throughout the book. Little Book Owl says she was pleasantly surprised at this book, while my Goodreads friend Rebecca Snow says it's just strange, which really sounds pretty par for the course for Neil Gaiman. So my husband randomly came home one day with In the Unlikely Event by Judy Blume, which is her new book about a plane crash that happened near her house as a kid, I think. I actually haven't read any Judy Blume at all yet, not even Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, which I am kind of embarrassed to admit, so I kind of think I need to start there before coming back to here. Then I attacked some library book sales as well, and I got The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I've wanted to own this ever since I read it 3 years ago, so I was excited when I found this at the sale. It's in actually really nice condition too. My husband has also read this book, but he actually watched it after he read the movie, and I have the cool factor of saying I watched it before we saw the movie. But I think this will be a really nice addition to our collection. And then I got this edition of Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. This is not one of her more famous books, but I'm really fond of this one. And this is a really cute little copy by Penguin. The text is a wee bit small, but it will look quite lovely on my shelf. Eragon by Christopher Paolini. This is a really beautiful book, and it's got one of those maps inside of it, which you know means this is going to be some real serious fantasy here. I enjoyed this book when I read it, but for some reason I've never continued with the series. And isn't this the book where the author was a teenager and his parents published the book and took him on a book tour of the country where he dressed in medieval garb the whole time? Now that is some serious dedication to the genre. The Da Vinci Code. I already own a copy of this one, so this will probably go on my giveaway shelf at work. I actually kind of liked this book when I read it. Not enough to go back and read anything else by Dan Brown, but I enjoyed how much they were able to talk and talk while at the same time running away from things. It was quite impressive. I grabbed another Amanda Quick book, Ivy Wed. I read this about 3 years ago and liked it. I loved like the first 3/4 of this book, but the ending was a little weak, so I edged it down to just a like for me rather than a love. This is about a sharp-tongued lady's companion and a man on the search for a thief. This is a variant on the typical Amanda Quick storyline, but I don't really care. Sometimes I'm just in an Amanda Quick mood, so it doesn't really matter if all her characters are essentially the same, just thrown into only slightly different circumstances. Slave to Sensation by Nalini Singh Side-Changing is one of my favorite paranormal series, but I don't actually own any of the books yet. Now I do. I have book 1. If you haven't read this series and you like paranormal romance, do read it. It's about a world where there are 3 dominant sentient life forms: humans, shifters, so you know, werewolves, werecats, werebears, were everything else, and then there are the Psi. The Psi's brains are all connected to each other in a network, and they live both in the real world and virtually inside that network. They've also conditioned all emotion out of themselves. Anyway, that's the basic premise. It is one of the best executed what I call B storylines, which is the storyline that continues from book to book in a serialized series. While I love the main storylines and romances, each book does advance the overall story of the struggle between and within these 3 species. It is super good. Othello! This is one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. I read it in high school and was highly surprised at how much I liked it. I never saw me as a tragedy type of girl before, but I really connected with the writing in this one. I need to go back and reread and see if I still respond so viscerally now that I'm out of the teenage years. What did you read as a teenager that you were kind of surprised you actually enjoyed? And what books have you gotten lately?